All right, I'll come back to you. Let me come back now to Jude here in the studio, because a lot of these policies do not necessarily make sense to the average Nigerian, right? They just want to be able to get by. And, you know, we hear all of these figures, oh, the GDP grew in the last quarter by 2 point whatever. People don't care about these figures, right? When they don't see their lives improving and things are actually getting worse. I mean, the figures for food inflation are through the roof, besides even for the core inflation on its own. And, you know, a lot of these things we hear about, like he's mentioned, there are things that will need proactive on the one side, but also just sort of long-term resilience from a lot of Nigerians. We've claimed that we're very resilient people, but there's a breaking point at some point for a lot of us, you know, and things are not looking up in any way. What does 2024 look like? If you're speaking to a Nigerian, what's the sort of things you think the year will look like? What should people expect in what is already a tough year?
I mean, like you rightly said, it's not looking good. Truth is, everybody is feeling the heat. However, I would rather want to speak directly to the government and for them to take very drastic measures. And again, I was talking earlier and I mentioned Nigerian customs. I'm sure a lot of people would wonder why Nigerian customs. Nigeria depends solely on importations. For example, every Nigerian household is a net importer. Now, some of these goods come into the country with very high duties on them. So Nigeria customs can regulate the kind of inflation that is happening in Nigeria so that you and I can have access to what we use and consume at a very reduced rate. Like I was saying about the subsidy, so the excess funds that has been either diverted from subsidy can now start funding whether the operations of the Nigerian, I mean, not all of them, maybe a fraction of it, funding the Nigerian customs operations so that they in turn can either eradicate, for example, duties on raw materials. This will boost production for manufacturers who are currently sourcing for dollars since it has been floated, so that they don't have to pay some of these duty fees. Then as well, again, when it comes to drug, a lot of them are being imported. We must eradicate custom duties on all of this. We have machineries. Once we eradicate some of these custom duties from products like this, we will boost internal production, we will have more industries in Nigeria, we will boost our production and contribute to our GDP.